SheADV board. How cool. You know them, you love them, or maybe you don't know them. I don't know. I feel like I'm always talking, but these gals are amazing and wonderful. And I'm going to say a little bit this evening about some goal setting and some things, but I really want to just turn the mic over to the rest of these ladies because they're just incredible women. And it's like they're friends, they're role models, they're mentors. It's such a great crew. So I hope that you all get a chance to meet all of these gals in person at some point in the not too distant future. So without further ado, this is Mind, Body, Moto. Mind, Body, Spirit, Moto. This is just all about setting yourself up for success in 2025. And we've got a bunch of different categories of topics that we're going to touch base on. So lots of great things to come. Use that chat box, drop your questions in there as we're rolling out. And really, it all starts with goal setting. So take a minute, take a deep breath. Do y'all have goals for 2025? If you do, drop those goals into the chat. We want to hear them. We want to hear about your goals. I want to know what you're cooking on, what you're excited for, what you have your sights set on, what lane you're driving down in 2025. What's your Moto goal? Tell us all about it. I want to hear it. Be brave, be bold. We're here to support you 100%. But let us know what those goals are. My goal is 10,000 miles on my motorcycle and take a training class. Those are my Moto goals this year. And when we talk about goals, there's two sides of goal setting. Everybody's heard about the SMART goal setting, specific, measurable, attainable, yada, yada, yada. You can look it up. But when I think about goals, I think about big goals versus micro goals. And so, setting yourself up with a big goal is great. It's the kind of goal, it's the big dreams. It's the one that drives the ball down the field. It's the dream that keeps you moving. It keeps you cranking in the right direction. They're ambitious goals. They can occasionally be ego-driven goals, and they can occasionally lead to disappointment. So big goals are great. But when I think about my goals for 2025, I am focusing on micro goals. I'm breaking it down. Any of those big goals, ride my motorcycle to Ushuaia, write a best-selling book, ride like Jocelyn Snow, never going to happen. All of those big goals can get broken down into micro goals. And micro goals are the kind of things that you can complete in an hour, in a day, in a week, in a month. You can check them off your checklist and you can feel like a total rock star. Where the big goal is that long shot, that big dream that keeps you moving. The micro goals are the things that boost your own self-esteem from the inside out. They're the things that keep you moving, and they're the things that just that you can check off that to-do list every single day and feel like $1,000,000, even if it's like, hey, I did a little yoga today because I did. Hey, I walked all my dogs today because I did, right? Those little check marks are the kinds of things that bolster your big goals and keep you moving along. So I'll turn it over to Ina to take it next.
Unmute.
You're on mute.
Okay, here I am. Hi, everyone. So nice to be here. Welcome to the new year of SheADV. So as we set our goals for Moto goals specifically for the upcoming year, what normally? We're doing okay. So sorry, I thought we were on a different slide. Yeah, setting realistic goals. What as we do that, what makes us a better rider, and what does it look like? So it's really important that when we envision that goal, it's not just goal setting on the paper or in our mind, but really sit and think. Like if you're planning to ride a BDR, somebody just said that they're planning to ride Big Bend. What does that feel like when you're actually riding it? So it's really important to make that connection with the goal and then the feeling and how your body feels when you're riding it, whether you're imagining that you're going to see these amazing places or you're going to be conquering some technical terrain. And so what we're talking about here is connecting that feeling of when you're actually going to be riding to your goal. And that makes it'll make you more motivated. It'll make you come up with some creative ideas of how to achieve it. It'll make you move a lot faster and closer to the goal. Eva talked about breaking this big goal into smaller tasks. So if you're planning on conquering the BDR, okay, well, the most important thing right now for you is to set that date on the calendar, and everything else stems from that. So you set the date, you're doing it in let's say October, and then leading up to that, how can you break that goal into smaller tasks? Well, first of all, I need to make sure that I have the right bike and the right gear, so you can work on that 1 month. Secondly, you want to make sure that you have the right skills for a ride like that. So maybe you take a training, you attend some rallies, you go ride with your friends. You set a goal for riding maybe weekly on your motorcycle, even if it's not off-road, maybe it's just around the block, but that time behind the bars is really important for you to be successful at riding that BDR. So breaking that big goal into smaller tasks and assigning some timelines for that really will help us achieve that big goal for 2025. And then keeping yourself accountable, obviously, looking at a day or a week or a month, have I accomplished all the things that I've set out to do? Have I spent more time with my motorcycle, even if it's on pavement? Failure is an option. We are people tell us, okay, well, don't fail, or failure is not an option. In my mind, you can't be successful if you're not failing, because it's through failures. And the important thing is that we pick ourselves up, even if we fail. In order to be successful, you just pick yourself up and you keep going. You're not learning if you're not failing. So I had many failures on my BDR adventures and throughout my adventure motorcycling journey. And I look back at them now, and it's just a stepping stone to achieving your goals, whether it's this year or some bigger goals that you have for your life. And finally, in order to get to your goal, community is so important. Whether you're attending the SheADV meetings, and we have a great community here, or we're at rallies, meeting each other and riding together, or there's a dealership where you have a riding group, or it's some meetups in your local area. So I feel like community really helps us, gets us closer to the goal, and it's the women next to you cheering you on, and it really gives you that boost of confidence to keep going and to get to achieving your goal.
I love that. I love it. Speaking of community, look at this awesome community we have tonight. What an amazing crew. When we were thinking about how to break this all down, we decided that there's goal setting, but that there's mind, body, spirit, and all of that is part of the motorcycling journey. So next up, Ina's going to take away some, mind stuff, some strengthening mental resilience for riding and beyond.
Yeah, so when I think about goal setting and what stops me in achieving my goals, a lot of the times it's fear, whether it's the fear of the unknown, or fear of not being good enough or strong enough, or not good enough rider, I'll never be able to ride that Jocelyn Snow, or it's a fear of failure. I'll never be good at riding by somebody else, or the BDR is just such a big deal that I'm not ready for it. So we need to figure out how to deal with this fear and stop, figure out how to face it head on, because really that's what will allow us to move forward. So facing fear head on is really just seeking out challenging situations and putting yourself in a position where you're pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible. Whether it's taking a training and really pushing through it. Like I have one example where every year I take a training, local training here to prepare for a BDR ride. And I've done it for probably 10 years now. And then in the beginning, as if you've taken the training, sometimes like you're in these uncomfortable positions and your body is hurting and you just can't wait to take a break and get some water. And then you're like gonna get on the bike again. And I used to just run to the break and just sit there and relax. And then at some point it clicked, like, actually, I need to get myself out there and do the zigzagging cone exercise to really like get better at my body positioning, and I wouldn't want to do it, but I would just push myself to go and do that exercise. And the first year I pushed myself, I dropped the bike a number of times and I was unhappy with myself, but it made me a slightly better rider. And then, like, I just noticed every year, oh my god, now I can just do these cones and it's not a big deal. And so really it's like when you push your body and your mind towards your limit, is where the progress and the learning is happening. So I would encourage all of you, as on your motorcycle journey this year, is to push yourself. When you feel like you want to sit down, get up and do it again, because that's when that's really when those connections in your body and in your mind are happening. And really, the more we train, the more like that fear, the boundary of fear expands. Something that seemed completely unaccomplishing a year ago, if you've taken the training and you practice, then maybe next year it's going to be totally not a big deal. And that's like that point of neuroplasticity, which is something that the science kind of recently came to understand, is that our brain creates neurons and connections throughout our life, and into our 80s and 90s. And so that ability of the mind to change and adapt, how do we get there? It's through going through these challenging situations and pushing ourselves beyond what we thought was possible, making sure we're rested, that we're sleeping well, that we're exercising, that we're eating well, all the things that we're going to talk about tonight. And obviously you're all aware of those too, but that's all very important to becoming a better rider.
Love it. That's awesome. And it's just such a process, right? It's like, it's never like that. I feel like anything that we lean into, anything that we try and do, it's like you almost look around and realize, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I'm better. All of a sudden I can go around the cones better. I dropped my bike a little less. I'm a little less scared, right? It's always like this quiet evolution. I feel like sometimes it just sneaks up on you.
Yeah, the one thing I think I forgot to mention is breathing. Like what else helps us deal with fear? It's like making sure that you're taking deep breaths when you're approaching a challenging situation, like a challenging trail or something, for example, on your trip, is like making sure you stop and take some deep breaths to calm yourself down. That's really important.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Olivia, I think you're up next.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a great transition, Ina, skipping to the brain stuff. So I'm Olivia. I've been with SheADV on the board for about a year and a half, but I haven't actually spoken to you as a group yet. So I'm the person behind the scenes. I run the trail sides and just making sure it's a safe space and getting our slides together. So a little bit about me was one of my earliest jobs was I was a research assistant in a cognitive science laboratory. So literally every day learning about how our perceptions of the world quite literally affect how we behave, how we feel, everything about the way we interact with the world. So I wanted to share, based on that foundation and also some work I've done in this area on myself, I want to share back with you just some tips about maintaining your mental health. So first off, identify your thoughts and your values. So we had our SheADV retreat a couple weeks ago. Every morning, Ina started us off with yoga and meditation. And meditation is all about sitting there and watching your thoughts pop into your head, recognizing them as thoughts, not judging them, letting them go. And it's pretty satisfying. It's pretty healthy. There's all sorts of health benefits to this, but it's something we can also do in our day-to-day life. Just everything we interact with, understand what is the thought I'm having around this. And one way to do this better is to literally label it. So in your mind, let's say you're stressed. You can say, I'm feeling stressed. I'm having a feeling that I'm stressed. Let's say I'm stressed and I shouldn't be. You can say, I'm having a feeling I'm stressed and a judgment that I shouldn't be. You can have a thought, like I'm having a thought that I should, go out. So it's like, yep, that's a thought. And just kind of separating yourself from your thoughts is in making that relationship a little bit more healthy. So there's also worse things like I'm not good enough. And that's like a judgment. You can think about, if this wasn't you, if you're saying this to your child or your cat or something, you'd be like, that is awful. So just separating those thoughts and emotions and things like that is something that I found really helpful. And something else is, so on a more personal note, one way I've used this really effectively is sometimes I'm very analytical. So I know I like worked in a lab. So something will happen and then afterwards I'll have these very quick thoughts and I'm basically assessing everything that happened. It's very rapid fire. It's very stressful. So lately I've started noticing that, number one, noticing it and then labeling, giving it a name. So I call it auditing. And then from there, I can realize when I'm doing that, it means I'm stressed. And then I can think more clearly about the situation, maybe manage those emotions a little better. So just this entire idea of labeling, you can do this with a journal, having a thought, having an emotion, on and on and on. And it's just healthy to externalize all of that. And then something else is the values piece. So something we should all be doing is number one, knowing what our values in life are. And I can share a link in the chat afterwards, but there's a really fun activity where basically you're given 50 values. You pick 25 to keep. From there, you pick 10. From there, you get down to 5 eventually. So you're weighing these things and you're thinking really thoughtfully about what you value in life. And then from there, you want to make sure that in life you're moving towards those values and not away from fear. So this is directly relevant to motorcycles. It could be scary. It could be like, I want to go for a ride, but I'm scared. So with that, you decide to go for a ride because you're moving towards your values of wanting to be on the motorcycle. And you don't want to be moving away from the fear of, I don't know, not riding. I feel like I should. I'll feel like I won't fit in if I don't ride. Those are not the ways you want to make decisions. So to share a little bit about my results for this value card sort, I looked at it right before this call. I was like, this is so funny because it's very related to everything we do at SheADV. So my 5 were adventure, ethics, independence, friendship, and education. So that just kind of hammered home. I am moving towards my value with all this work. I'm not moving away from, I don't know, whatever else, boredom, for example. And yeah, so what I want to leave everyone with is basically assess your level of stress, the health of your community, try to do an activity with yourself to see if there's anything you can prioritize. Is there anything where it's moving away from fear and not towards your values? Is there anything you can delegate to your community to take on for you, even if it's just emotional support? And then this is ongoing. You're never done with mental health. Like it's just always ongoing, but you build that muscle to get better at it. So ways to do that is meditation, just setting 5 minutes aside to watch your thoughts, journaling, writing down those thoughts, labeling them, thinking about them more external to yourself. And writing, obviously, it just cuts all the bullshit out. You're there, you're taking the inputs, you're meditative, and you're keeping yourself upright. And then we also will share resources throughout and at the end and in a recap newsletter, but we have this Trailside is a great resource for community. We also have Chris Fant wrote us a wonderful blog post a couple months back, quite literally about like dealing with fear and speaking to a lot of these topics.
So much good stuff. Awesome, Olivia. Thank you. I didn't know you worked in a research lab.
Yep, a while ago, but
all these years or months that we've known each other. I love it. All right. Down to the body. It's just all is so intertwined, right? Like you can look at the mental health progression and you compare it to your progression as a rider. Like they're all the same. They all follow the same pattern. And it's always constantly in flux. It's so cool. It's just so cool. All right. Erin, you have done so much work on the body stuff. So I'm really excited for you to share with us.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, hi, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Erin. I'm not only on the board, but I've been a practicing orthopedic PA for almost 30 years. Can't believe it. Anyway, this was my big reveal. I was going to use the A word on all of you because, believe it or not, you are an athlete, ladies. You can roll your eyes, you can look away, you can shake your head and say, not me. But if you are out there on an adventure bike, you are most certainly an athlete. And being an athlete, that means that we want to train like an athlete. And athletes are very aware of something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is essentially medicalese or, book talk for loss of muscle. And it's involuntary. It happens to all of us. It's part of the catabolic process of us aging. So all of us, once we hit about 25, we start to lose that muscle. It's about 3 to 5% per decade after 25. But us women, always being special and unique, we get an extra hit at 50 because we lose estrogen and testosterone at a disgusting rate. So we lose an additional, you take that 3 to 5, and then you add on another 1 to 2% per year. If we just hang out, that's what we lose. So I want to ride until I'm 80. So for me, that's over a 30% loss. So we need to fight. We need to fight for this. And so you're going to see why I love muscle so much, because it's truly an organ of longevity. And when you fight for it and you hold it and you build it, your life expectancy increases, your pain goes way down. You can't name a body system, any system you can name. I can give you 3 to 5 studies that will tell you exactly how the benefits of muscle are going to help you, recover. It's unbelievable how much, including mental health. I mean, give me a topic, Eva. I can spit out like three studies easily. So it's really this organ of longevity. It increases our life expectancy. The thing that I like to kind of key in on, though, for us as riders, is it actually is very protective to us when we're riding. It decreases our risk of injury. If our muscle system is really strong around our bones, our tendons, and our joints, it's going to stabilize them, and they're going to be strong to recover from the stresses of a get off or a tumble, because it happens. Sometimes you drop a big bike and they're really heavy to lift up. You want that muscle to protect all those skeletal bones and those joints when you go down and do that big deadlift, because you're pushing that sucker back up. Her name's Lizzo for a reason. That's one of my favorite things about muscle, is just it's so protective for us. And just on a side note, ladies, the more muscle you have, the more that we build. Muscle is metabolically hungry tissue. So if it's hungry, it means we need to feed it, and it means that we get to eat. And I like to eat. It's part of the reason why we ride to all these great places. We want to eat. So how do we do this? How do we get strong? Well, I'm going to tell you, all the cardio bunnies, you're not going to like me for a minute, but you need to lift heavy. And I spent my life as a cardio bunny. I was out there running and cycling and all that, but we need to lift to be able to build the muscle. And the way we're going to do it, and we're going to touch on it in the SheADV Advantage program, is we're going to do something called progressive loading. So we want to start with a weight that's heavy, but not, unreasonably heavy. And we want to progressively overload you so that your 6th, 7th, or 8th rep becomes really hard. And you get that kind of ugly jelly shake, I don't know if I can do this, holding your form. And then you want to leave what I call 2 in the tank. So what that means is, if I ask you to do 6, you stop at 6, you're a little shaky, but you could do 2 more if you had to. I'm not asking you to do it, but you could. That's the kind of challenge to ability I want you to be able to manage. And that's going to help you build muscle in a safe way so that you don't get hurt. And then you can start going for PRs and your 1 max deadlift. So the other big thing about when you lift heavy and hard like that, you need to rest in between those lifts. So you do your set, give yourself a good 2 minutes to recover. Let those muscle fibers settle, relax, and then go into your next lift. You can re-recruit and rebuild. The other thing is that when we lift for an hour, or you do your workout for a day, that hour doesn't really offset the 14 or 15 hours that a lot of us are sedentary. A lot of us have desk jobs. We sit, we watch TV, all the things. So you want to kind of incorporate these movement snacks into your day. Just getting up, moving around, walking barefoot, taking the stairs, go down the stairs sideways. It changes your plane of movement. Again, we want to incorporate rotation, extension, go through a doorway, put your arms up, get a chest stretch. And again, we want to keep challenging your skeletal and muscular system in all these different planes of movement so that you're strong when you do that ridiculous dismount from time to time off of that bike. Recovery is really important. Any day that you lift heavy, you need to give yourself at least a day, preferably two if you lifted really heavy, for you to recover. Again, you want to, you don't need to go to the gym and kill yourself and destroy yourself. That's really demotivating and it's really unsustainable. You should feel good when you leave the gym. Give yourself that day or two to recover. And then the other big thing is you need to sleep. And sleep is really where the magic of your body happens. That's where you start to really rebuild and recover from all the work that you did in the gym. And one of the things that you need to kind of keep in mind too is if you've had a night where you've had really, really crappy sleep, and it happens, don't go and lift hard the next day. Lift on a day when you've had good sleep, or put the I just saw put the phone down. You want to just put the weight, bring your weights down. Again, don't destroy yourself. Don't go for a PR on a day where, you haven't slept well. You can start with lighter weights. I saw that come through. But again, the light is fine to start. But what you want to do is you want to stress the system a little bit. But remember, when I say that, I mean, you're stressing a system in a way that you can still lift that weight without getting all herky and jerky and trying to, twist and contort. That's not good form. So you want to move on to the next slide for me?
Yeah, for sure.
So the next thing that we're going to talk about is being in pain. And that goes with lifting, and it goes with riding. You should not accept pain. If you're in pain, you need to address it sooner than later. A lot of times pain is because you have either a mobility issue where you've lost some mobility, there's weakness, and the CNS, the central nervous system, is trying to protect you. At that point, I honestly recommend getting a trained eye. You get someone who's a professional physical therapist or personal trainer to really have an objective look at your movement pattern and do a full-on movement screen and see, hey, wow, you're unable to rotate in this plane, or you're unable to be able to flex in this plane. And then you start building your program from there. And I know Ina's going to touch on it after, but you also should not accept any pain on when you're on your bike as well. If you're in pain, that's a message to you that something's just, the alignment just isn't right. And you need to address it. And I know we have the Facebook community page. I'll try and drop it in. You can always drop into that Facebook community page. I'm on there all the time. I will address it. I will, take a picture. I'll draw lines. I'll help you figure it out, but do not suffer. It's just, it makes fun riding just so much less fun. And just, we can help you.
Ladies, Erin is a wealth of knowledge. So drop those questions into the chat. This woman knows the body inside and out. She's been putting body parts back together for decades.
30 years at least.
Yeah. Yeah, tons of great information. She also knows about Christmas trees. So if you have any questions about growing Christmas trees, you can drop those in the chat too. But tonight, let's focus on goals and things like that. But drop any questions that you might have in the chat. We'll address them for the most part later. Although I do kind of feel like any of that hand and wrist stuff might be worth just a quick touch on real quick, Erin, if you got a couple suggestions. Because I find that it's such a, you think about it, it's so little. They're just your little hands. It's not all your big muscles, but they take a beating during motorcycling.
It's common. So what we call that distal pain to proximal weakness. So believe it or not, when you're having a lot of pain in your wrist or your elbow, it's usually because I don't know if you can see me well, but it's usually because you're weak in the back of the neck and the back of your back. So it's about developing that stability in the core, in the center line of your body, to help so that you're not putting so much pain. You also want to work on mobility with your wrist, moving, gentle stretching in all the planes, and then stretching against a little bit of resistance. There's a couple of really good YouTube guides. I know Body by Beard, I think is his name. He does a lot of really nice mobility training. You're there for 45 minutes and that wrist is going to be on fire, but that's how you get it stronger for sure.
Love it. Awesome.
Okay. Lastly, I'll try to be brief. I know we probably all know all of this, but we'll just touch on it briefly. You want to stay hydrated. So that means you want to drink your body weight in fluid. Look at Eva go, not a girl. In fluid every day. And wake up in the morning, you are already dehydrated and you've been diuresing all night. That's why you have to pee as soon as you wake up in the morning. So first thing you should do is just have a big glass of water right before you get your day started, just to start that hydration process. We want to eat whole foods. We're gonna, well, especially when we're muscle building, which as adventure riders we should be, we want to prioritize protein. So that's gonna mean, and this is a crazy number, and it's a number us ladies aren't used to hearing, but we want our ideal body weight in grams of protein per day. So if I say my ideal body weight is 120 pounds, that's where I want to be, then I try to get 120 grams of protein a day. And I'm telling you, it's ridiculously hard. You need to track it, because even I thought, I'm pretty good. I've been an athlete all my life. I eat really well. Let me track it. You know what? Sure enough, I was getting half of what I needed, and I needed to supplement, and I noticed a big difference. And the great thing about protein is, one, it helps you build muscle. You can't build muscle without it. And it's satiating. So a high protein diet is very satiating. You want to avoid the processed foods. We actually call those hyper palatable foods. They're overly delicious, too delicious. You know, and do you guys remember the no one can eat just one? That is true. That is a gift to you from the food engineers who have deliberately made and engineered that food so that it is hyper palatable. You can't only eat one. You eat the whole bag and then you still aren't full. And that's how you buy more, and that's how you eat more. And it's a pretty vicious cycle. So if you can avoid those, that in of itself is a huge diet win, a huge, don't even say diet, nutrition win. You want to eliminate a lot of your plant-based oils. These are the seed oils. Those are the dirty word right now is seed oils. We know that they're very pro-inflammatory, and they mess with your omega-6 ratio. So we want to try and get rid of those. And I know Shal, she's not here, but this is a plug for Shal. She loves her Bobby approved app. So this is a really cool nutrition app that you can use, and you can scan the barcodes in the grocery store, and it will just do a quick check whether or not it's approved or not. And what he's looking for is he's looking for free of seed oils, harmful artificial sugars, preservatives, GMOs, harmful food additives, dyes. So it's kind of a quick way to kind of clean up your diet significantly.
That's awesome. It's
cool.
We'll drop the Bobby app link. When we all got together in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago, we were like going through the grocery store scanning Bobby apps just to see. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And you know, like all of these things that we're talking about tonight, it's a journey, right? Like it's if you're like eating a bag of chips for breakfast every day, it's probably not a great idea to say you're going to eat nothing but kale tomorrow, right? Because it's not going to happen, right? It's about making good decisions. It's about making incremental changes. It's about setting little goals, you know?
Exactly. It's just, you know, what choice can I make that's a little bit better for me today? Awesome.
Totally. We're gonna dip into gear and ergonomics, and I think Ina's gonna take that. But Emily had a question in the chat about using a wrist wrap while riding, and I just wanted to get your 2 cents on like any of those kind of support tools, Erin, as somebody with a whatever. You're not a PT, but
yeah, right. No. It's so wrist splints and all of that, they have their place, right? Certainly if you are out and you are injured and you need to use that wrist splint to get home safely, put that sucker on. If you need to, you know, get through your life with that sucker on, use it. But what you'll see when you go to a therapist, a lot of times they'll want to move you away from that, because that support, again, after you get through like an initial injury, that support is giving you the support and the stability that your muscles, ligaments, and tendons should be. And so that's something that, again, you want to address it. And again, I'm never going to say, you know, don't wear a wrist splint, but wear it with the understanding that you're giving up some of your mobility, and you're giving up some strength, and you want to address it. But if you told me I had to wear a wrist splint to ride, I probably would do it. And then, you know, try to fix it in the winter, which I've done. So
yeah, totally. Awesome. All right, ergonomics.
Yeah, this is just a quick one. Winter is a great time for us to dial in our bike setup and our gear. And ergonomics, it goes hand in hand with being able to ride comfortably. Making sure that the bike fits you and you're not trying to fit the bike. And so getting the ergonomics right is so important. It can help you with comfort when you're riding. It can reduce fatigue. And also help increase the handling and the control of the bike. Some of the things that, and if you're riding for long days and you feel pain at some point towards the end of the day, something is probably not right. So you need to figure out what it is. So I would look into your handlebar position. That is probably the most important thing that makes you makes your riding more comfortable. So are your how are your hands? Do you have to stretch them far, or are they too close to your body? So dialing that in is really important, whether you need higher handlebars or not. So figure that out. Seat comfort is really important. A lot of smaller or mid-sized bikes do not come with comfortable seats. There are a lot of aftermarket seats that will make your ride a lot more comfortable. I would also look at your clutch and brake levers and make sure that the height is there, or whether or not it needs to be adjusted. A wider foot pegs, if you're doing technical adventure riding, making sure that you have wider foot pegs. It helps you again with control and handling of the bike. Windscreen too. So all of these things, now is the time to figure out what works and what doesn't. Go look at bikes in the dealerships, talk to your friends, or maybe if you have a mentor or a trainer nearby so that they can assess your riding position. Now is the time to do it so you feel comfortable riding. When I was doing the Northern California BDR, I was riding the Zero electric bike, the DSRX, and I thought it was like the most comfortable bike ever. However, on the 7th day, I started feeling like my right hand just kept numbing, like basically an hour into the day. And so for the last 4 days of the trip, I was riding with a numb hand. And so to me, it means that, something in the ergonomics of the bike wasn't working for me. It wasn't my bike, so I didn't adjust it, but in general, that's something you definitely want to look into as you're preparing for your riding season.
I love that. And any of you are welcome if we see you at the Touratech rally, or we see you in Bisbee, or we see you at Dirt Days, or we see you out on the dusty trail somewhere. We ask us, we can help, or find a friend. Like, we can help make those tweaks and tunes and adjustments, whether you're in a training class or not. So come find us. We can put eyes on you. And if we can't help you fix it, we know somebody who can. So let's see. On to the spirit. Ina, you're rocking and rolling tonight. You've got some great slides. So much good information. I love this. What is this? NorCal BDR?
This is SoCal.
SoCal. Oh, the Sierra Mountains, though. So pretty. Awesome.
Yeah, so I love my my spiritual practice. It's a big part of my life. In addition to my family and my work, that's something that's really important to me. And I feel like everybody in their life at some point will stop and ask themselves, what is the purpose of my life? Am I fulfilling it? Am I achieving my highest potential? In general, to me, it's like achieving your highest potential is the goal of our life. And so what is it? And you can't really, know it as we're going through our busy lives and taking care of, work and kids and family. And so developing the daily practice where you really just sit down with yourself, where it's quiet, and you can really just look deep into yourself. Like, to me, my daily practice is absolutely essential. Sometimes when I don't have time to do it, which is very rare, I always make time to do it, even if it's 15 or 30 minutes. That's really where that self-knowledge and self-inquiry comes from. And it's just such an essential part of our life, especially as we get older. Like, we've accomplished a lot, but now is the time to turn in and really understand what do I want out of life, and how do I want to show up. And so, yeah, the daily practice, I recommend that you have a routine in the morning when it's quiet. Maybe you wake up a little bit earlier, whether it's exercise or you're doing yoga or meditation. I usually like to mix them up during the week. Like one day I'll do some vinyasa yoga with the app that I have, or some days I'll do strength training. Obviously, like now we will share with you our SheADV Advantage program. So a lot of the stuff that, you can take some exercises from that and really start building that habit of a daily practice. I love, in the morning, even if I have 5 minutes, just to like see the daylight and to get your body ready for the day, I'll just go around the block. I'll do some breathing. So basically something that feels good to your body and your soul and your mind, where you're just with yourself and go inside, because our days, we're always outward, we're serving other people, we're checking things off our list, and that time in the morning is so important, as well as in the evening, making sure like we don't look at our phones past whatever 8 o'clock or 2 hours before we sleep, that we not in bed reading, and then like that light doesn't allow us to fall asleep well. So whatever that practice is for you, and whatever your morning or evening routine is, start it and then be consistent with it. And even if it's not an hour in the morning every day, but maybe it's half an hour, but you always have that time for yourself. And setting intention like that, that morning practice it's so important for me. Like if I have something important going on that day, like I will just sit and again like connect, figure out how do I want my day to go, what is this project like, what is the end goal, how do I want to feel when I've accomplished this, and really connecting with that feeling and the emotion inside. And I will do it like when I have a big trip, like a BDR trip coming up. You want to set that intention and really envision that it's going to be positive and you're going to see so many beautiful things, and really connect with that energy, so that you can attract what you're envisioning. Because if you don't visualize it, like, how can you achieve it? So I think like that's really important, setting the intention, and it can be like a short time, you just envision that, or it could be a 15-minute meditation where you just really live in that feeling that of what you want to do and how you want to show up. Practicing gratitude, it's like, and I do that every morning in my practice too, and I close my practice with it, is just giving gratitude, for being alive, for breathing, to Mother Earth, for birthing us and just giving us a chance at life. Even if you are struggling with something through life, or maybe your health is not good, but it's still like giving that gratitude. So the more kind of positive vibrations we're giving out to the world, that it comes back to us twofold. So I think that's probably all I have. Yeah, and feel free to put in the chat, like if what helps you to start the day right, and just show up well and kind. Like kindness is also so important. It's just being kind to people, and then in return, we get those gifts in return, twofold usually. So yeah.
I love it. And I love how it can just be so personal, and you can kind of develop it, and it can be like your own little gift to yourself to take that time and to make that space. Like it's so easy for life to get ahead of us and to roll right into your day and rush until the moment you fall asleep at night. But it really is. It's so important to keep tabs on things and to kind of just be present with life and all things, because it goes by so fast.
And we have great in our program, the SheADV program, that we're going to unveil here in a few minutes. We have great habit tracking and goal setting exercises, so it will make it easier for you to figure out, okay, well, what should I be doing for myself every day?
I love it. I love it. I love what's going on in the chat too. It's so fun. I think it was Helen or Helene, wrenches on her motorcycles as her meditation. I love that. And Emily has the soothing sounds in the headphones, falling asleep. I'm the same way. I just love all that stuff. There's just so many good ways to bring ourselves into our bodies and just get more out of our life in every way. Speaking of getting more out of our lives in every way, what's better than community? It's my absolute favorite. For me, motorcycle riding is always a balance of solitude and community. Like when I'm out there by myself doing the thing, I'm totally at one with nature. I just love being on that bike and just cruising the trails and flowing and all that kind of stuff. But times like this are also so important. Coming together for SheADV Trailside, connecting on social media, meeting up at the rallies, going to BDR film screenings, finding your local riding group, finding a really cool training experience where you're guaranteed to have like-minded people there because you're all there learning to ride together. So that community is so important. And just know that here at SheADV, we're always here for you and here for each other. Like so much good stuff going on in the chat. I'm in this part of the country. I'm in that part of the country. I'm interested in this. I'm interested in that. Just one of our big goals for SheADV, one of our big goals that'll get broken down into smaller goals this year is to better facilitate that community side of this community so that you all can be better connected with one another. So stay tuned on some exciting stuff around that. But in the meantime, we've got a cool little community program coming up again for our second year. It's another round of the SheADV program. And this name, I have to pay tribute to Shal, like for so many things, SheADV. The SheADV program was a workout program that Shal developed specifically for motorcycling years and years ago. And it's just a like gym fitness routine that builds progressively. And so last year we kind of took it and we remixed it to become sort of a 30-day body, mind, moto, just kind of a program that we could all do together as a nice little reset. And I just think it's kind of cool. Today is the Lunar New Year. So it's like we already had New Year's, but like I kind of like this New Year's because like you can kind of shake off the Januaries and do something fresh and have a fresh start with all of this stuff. So it's a pretty cool program. It's 10 pages long if you include the covers. And there's a bunch of stuff in there. And we can all dive into the SheADV community page on Facebook to be able to talk about this stuff. If you have questions, we can answer questions. We can work together on stuff. We can find workout buddies. We've got a section in the beginning just kind of about goal setting, setting your intention for the year, setting your motorcycle goals, like what you were all dropping in the chat earlier today. And then this here, if you can see my screen, is a little habit tracker. For the next 30 days, we're all going to be working through this program together. And so you can drop your goals in the white spaces and then check off your little check boxes and feel like $1,000,000 bucks. And so lots of good information in here. A big thing this time around is we added a weighted program to the fitness challenge. Last year, we only did, if you see this kind of pinkish slide down here, we only did a body weight challenge. And so this year we added some either in gym or at home with some weights kind of program to step this thing up a notch. And it's really cool. Erin put a lot of attention and time and care into crafting this program. There's a lot of words on that page, but the program is right in the middle. And if you have questions, just ask us. We're here for you. And just, I can't stress enough, if this is the first time you're ever diving into weight training, just pay attention to that form and make sure you're making good choices and building that foundational strength and not blowing yourself out, because nobody wants to come into the riding season injured. So don't do that. Make good choices, ladies. It's really, really important. So I love this kind of daily check-in. I do this every day anyways. And so I hope you gals will find some stuff here that's inspiring or interesting or shakes up your routine a little bit. And we're all doing it together. So we're here for you. If you have questions or you need a workout buddy, jump into the Facebook community page because there's going to be so much good stuff going on over there.